I got a pretty exciting email from someone. Um,
Raid Shadow Legends.
no. Oh well, hey, if they want to sponsor me, even I would sink as low as sponsoring Raid Shadow Legends. To be honest, you know.
Don't say you're sinking as low. You're moving up. For God's sakes, you have a sponsor. How many people can claim that?
Game begin.
The Mystery Gaming Bros are awesome! The Mystery Gaming Bros know how to party!
Hey, Mystery Pony Fiction here, bringing you another episode of the Mystery Gaming Bros podcast, joined again by the green guy with a face and hair, Cashflow.
I am, in
It's
fact, the green guy with the face and hair.
yeah. Now it's my fault that uh, Shakespeare Eccles couldn't join us today because I wasn't able to record on his preferred day, but we should get more organised as we go. So what's been up, my
Oh, yeah.
dude?
Nothing much, nothing much. Me and a few buddies just recently started doing another run through of 7 Days to Die. If you ever played that game,
Nope.
fun game, zombie survival horror. Right now, there's a experimental version that's out. They've been updating this game for a while. It's been in alpha forever, and this with the newest update, so far it's pretty good. Like since the last time that I played it, they must have added like over 100 new places. Probably more than that. I think it's 200.
Oh yeah.
So, oh yeah, oh yeah.
So first
So
person
far, I'm
shooter
enjoying it.
zombie killing game, eh?
Uh, Somewhat, because it is first person, but the shooting you typically start off with a what's it called? Like clubs and spears and stuff along those lines. You kind of work your way up to it.
Yeah, I actually had my boss call again today. What a
Oh, how'd
surprise.
that go?
Yeah, he wants me to start early today, and
Fine, early.
1:30 in the afternoon. So, but what annoys me is that he called me at like 8:30, and since I don't normally work till 4:30, that was a bit early for him to be calling me, and he woke me up. So I probably only had about 4.5 hours sleep because I was up till like 3 a.m.
What, can you not go to sleep after you've been woken up?
Oh,
Is one of those things. It's like, bruh.
well, I don't know. I just thought, hey, since I've woken up so early anyway, I might as well have a try at getting one of these podcasts done. So, yeah, I sent you that message on Discord.
Oh, so that's when you sent the message. It was 8 o'clock for you.
Yeah. So I thought I might as well get one of these done since my boss forced me to wake up, but you know that's one thing. It's like since I normally work at 4:30, it seems a bit rude to call me at 8:30 in the morning. Don't you
I mean,
think?
not really. He probably the way he sees it, like, oh yeah, I'm up at so early. He probably is too.
Yeah.
It's
But
not
yeah,
too unusual.
But yeah, I've kind of gotten into the habit of getting up at about 10 or 11 in the morning because of the fact that I don't work till 4:30. You know, it's just
Yeah, I know the feeling.
yeah, that's kind of what my day has yeah, shifted into because of that work time.
I mean, yeah, whenever something like that happens, it typically, it's not too unusual. I remember when I used to work in restaurants, I wouldn't work till the evening. So every day it was just up till like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I do kind of have to get into a habit of getting up a bit earlier so that I can do this podcast with you guys. And I guess it just means that my my day ends with work and starts with free time, rather than
The other way around.
yeah most people start their day with work and then are tired and trying to have their free time afterwards. So I don't know.
A
I
little bit
guess
of
there's
relaxation.
pros and cons to both ways of doing it.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I mean like one of the things you'll be able to do at least is, how should I say? You'll feel like by the time you get home from work, you're just kind of done. You're
Yeah,
kind of ready to go to bed,
yeah,
which isn't too bad.
yeah. I definitely will be tonight. That's for sure. Because yeah,
I can imagine.
it'll be an 8 hour day from like one o'clock till 9:30 p.m.
That ain't too bad.
So I guess someone called in sick and I have to fill in for their portion of their shift.
Easy.
Well, anyway, I see you're playing Binding of Isaac there, and that's
Oh yeah.
pretty relevant to the first game I want to talk about.
What was the game you want to talk about first?
Brotato.
No, I saw you. I saw you playing that earlier.
Yep,
I
yeah,
didn't watch much, but I remember I did see it earlier.
yeah.
All right. So what about Brotato? What's it about?
Well, it's very similar to Binding of Isaac, except it's all just combat and it's auto shooting. So the
Hmm.
only thing you do in the game is you just move, and whatever weapons you have are automatically shooting at enemies. And unlike Binding of Isaac, there's none of the puzzle solving or rationing your bombs or anything like that. It's just pure, yeah, killing enemies, and you shoot in every direction rather than just, that's one thing with Binding of Isaac. When I first played it, I thought it was broken because, like, when I first played it, I pirated it because I wanted to see if I liked it, and I thought the fact that you could only shoot in four directions was because there was something wrong with the controls.
Oh really?
Yeah, because it just seems so weird that you could only shoot in four directions. But yeah, obviously I started. Well, I didn't actually play it for long on the PC. Like I just kind of tried it out. Thought, oh, I think the buttons might be broken. It's not, registering 360 movement on my right stick anyway. And yeah, I didn't play it for long on the PC, but then eventually I decided to buy it on the Switch because I thought it was just a perfect sort of game for laying in bed and chilling out. And it can actually
Kind of
run
is.
run okay on the Switch because most indie games that come out on the Switch perform terribly. Like usually, no matter how basic they look, the Switch is just it's really starting to show its age.
Me personally, I was pretty glad I got the Steam Deck because I'm able to play a few games that I really wanted to play, and like if I'm ever just at an airport or something along those lines, it really comes in handy.
Yeah, but yeah, like
That's one thing that I was really happy about the purchase.
I was trying to play Cult of the Lamb on the Switch, and it will often just freeze and catch up with whatever the CPU's doing, and
Oh,
like I'd constantly think the game's crashed. And oh, another thing, that Nintendo, Nintendo Online, how that
mm-hmm.
subscription that you got to sign up to play certain games online. Well, they sometimes
Yeah.
give away, like, let you try a free game for a week, and they once had uh, what was it called, Fuser, the DJ game. You heard of that?
I think so. Is that the one? Is that was it like Kappa or something along those lines? His name is Kappa the Rapper or something like that.
Well, yeah, it's a rhythm sort of game, um, but it's like, yeah, where you're kind of being a DJ, and you're mixing music clips together, and mixing it together, and so it's sort of like, yeah, like music editing, but in a fun way, in a game-like way.
Okay.
Just like you're a DJ at a turntable. It's that sort of gameplay. But what was really screwed up about when they put it on Switch and then allowed you to play it for free online with their, online subscription, is that the game is completely broken on the Switch. It doesn't work. When you try to go through the campaign, you get to about the fifth mission out of 10 or something, and it's absolutely impossible to complete.
Oh,
Be- because as soon as your song starts to get a certain level of complexity, the Switch will just crash. And so I tried the level like four times, and every time it crashed as soon as it started giving me the tutorial on a mechanic where you make your own music, like you bring up an interface and you like tap keys to make up your own tune to then add to the tracks that you have playing. And every time I did that, the game would crash. So on Nintendo Online, they let you try a game before you buy or whatever, or
uh-huh.
try a game for 7 days. That didn't actually work on the Switch.
Oh, so you're just kind of stuck with it.
Yeah. So like as soon as you get to a certain level of complexity, the game will always crash. And they advertise that as, oh yeah, you can get this game on Switch, try it out. And yeah, it just didn't even work at all, which seemed really screwed up. And I don't know how. I seem to be the only one complaining about it. Like, I was like, does anyone else know that this game doesn't work at all on Switch? And yeah, I try to see on forums and stuff if it was happening to
Hmm.
anyone else. But I didn't really see anyone else complaining about it. But yeah, ever since then I've kind of been like, yeah, be careful what you get on Switch because some games just don't work at all, and they don't even let you know that if
That
if
sounds
you buy
familiar.
Fuser on Switch, you won't be able to get past level 5 in the campaign at all. It's just yeah, I don't know if they eventually fixed it, but they certainly hadn't fixed it by the time they put the free 7-day trial on Nintendo Online,
No,
which seemed really really dodgy.
I gotta wonder if it was something to do with that, with the fact that it was free for 7 days. If they just made that point the natural stop point, I guess you could say.
Well, no, they never usually do that because they put Monster Hunter Rise, and I played the 7 days of that, and you can always get as far as you want in those games. Like it's
Mm.
one of the perks that they give you. Like instead of like Epic Store how it gives you free games, Nintendo will just sometimes let you play a game for free for a limited time. And yeah, they never gate any of it. So you can finish the whole game in 7 days if you can. Um,
That'd be bad. That'd be actually really nice, at least as far
yeah,
as that goes. You know what I mean?
and also you could obviously tell that Fuser did completely crash because it came up saying an error occurred. You know,
Oh, I see. So basically, something that you were pretty much certain that it wasn't just being gate kept or something along those lines.
yeah, definitely not because it came up with the same error that I sometimes get on Graveyard Keeper or other games. Like another game that performs really badly on Switch was that Blood Ritual, that Castlevania-like game. Yeah,
I don't know which one that
Bloodstained.
is.
Yeah, Bloodstained it was called, and it's just like it's like a Symphony of the Night spiritual successor, and
Hmm.
they released that on Switch, and there was some actual loading screens that would take literally about 45 seconds to a minute. So
Oh,
yeah, you know how you have the transition in those Castlevania games where you walk into a new room, or like something like Metroid,
it
where you
was
like
always in that.
yeah, like where it has that transition between two areas. But whenever you do that
Yeah.
in Bloodstained, it would take like 45 seconds to a minute.
Okay. Yeah. That does take a little while.
Yeah, so that's the one thing you should always consider when you're buying something on Switch. It like pretty much only official Nintendo games tend to work very well. I don't know if it's like just really difficult for developers to optimize it well for the Switch, or if they put much effort into it at all. Like they just port it in the most half-hearted way.
Well, I mean, that might be something similar to the case along those lines. It might be just that once you have something that doesn't come from the actual creators themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's one of those things that's just like a real crap show.
yeah. So anyway, I'm starting a series on YouTube about Brotato. Recorded my 1 hour run with this lucky character, and it's got like different characters just like Isaac has with different abilities, and you kind of got to think make your build around what the character's abilities and weaknesses are,
Mm-hmm.
just like with the characters in Isaac.
Yeah, I guess that's true, huh?
Yeah, so which character you're playing as now?
This is just Isaac.
Yeah.
I went back to the original. I have all of them. I don't even remember how I got them. I've had this game for a while already.
How many hours have you got in this?
I don't know actually. Let me. Oh crap. Let
I
me
think
check.
Yeah, I think I've probably got 1,000, and I've like barely unlocked anything in the game so far.
I think that might be Rebirth because this one's just the original Binding of Isaac, and
Ah,
I've
I
only played
see.
100 hours.
Oh yeah,
Oh man, it's a fun game. It's a fun game.
yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah. I
I'm just
mean,
thinking,
Rebirth and
what's
its
up?
expansion has got like crap load more content and stuff.
Yeah, it does. This whole new rooms and everything. What's it called? Jesus Christ.
And I think it looks a little bit upgraded from its original Flash look. Like this looks a lot like the original. I think it was a Newgrounds Flash game or something.
Oh, was it? I didn't even realize.
It probably was. That whole age of Flash games. What would
Dude, I loved Flash games.
Yeah. Although I remember being about 15, 16 when Newgrounds was around, and I don't know. You probably would have been what 4 years old then.
I think so. I think right around there.
Yeah.
What's it called? For me, I remember one of the first games I played was. Do you remember the World's Hardest game? You ever
Uh,
played that?
no.
It was literally such an easy thing. Well, I don't know if easy is the right way to put it, but essentially it was you just had to get a little cylinder across a whole bunch of blocks that were moving constantly. Not even a
Mm,
cylinder, a little square around a whole bunch of blocks that were moving constantly. And it wasn't the worst, but holy crap, dude, it was something else.
yeah.
Especially once you get to the higher levels. Do you happen to remember Ray at all?
Nope.
That's fine. So that was another Flash game, basically where you're an assassin, and they did it using South Park visuals.
Yeah.
So that was something I always remember when I was younger.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time ago when I was playing Flash games on Newgrounds. One of the main ones I remember is this one where you're a stick figure guy, and you pick up weapons and swing them around, and it's like really gory and stuff. Kind of like Binding of Isaac is. And you'd
Mm.
actually just swing weapons around, like you'd hold a weapon in your arm, and you're like a stick figure, and you just swing weapons around and cause lots of gore and stuff. And then you get a chainsaw and you just, yeah, like you use your mouse to kind of, just determine what direction your weapon's facing, and you use your mouse to swing it around.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called though.
For me, which one was it? I'm thinking of another one. Do you ever remember like Buddy or something like that, Interactive Buddy Online?
Probably not.
It's one where you can torture some little like
Oh,
Teletubby character.
yeah, I think I saw a video on YouTube where they were talking about some controversial Flash games, and yeah, there was one where you can literally like it was controversial enough to get on the news and stuff about how you can,
Oh,
yeah, a game where you can just stab some physics doll with stuff and torture him.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Launch missiles at him and whatnot.
uh, shave his skin off with a razor.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah,
It wasn't that complex. It was literally just a gray blob as a background,
oh yeah,
or with no real background, and you can like do stuff like you can throw baseballs at them, you can throw grenades at them, shoot them with a laser. It was stuff like that. I don't remember being able to peel his skin off. That'd be something else.
yeah. That's why it ended up on mainstream news. Oh, look at what these kids are playing. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've never heard. I'll have to check that one out because I don't remember that one at all. But oh man, I still remember. n- I don't remember. Was
Like
it
I
Newgrounds
just
or what?
I vaguely remember there was some new, yeah, like that's what the video was talking about. There were a fair few like deliberately controversial Newground games like uh Super Columbine Massacre RPG and stuff.
Like, yeah, I wonder why that one got reported on.
Yeah. But yeah, and there were other games about school shootings that were really controversial.
Yeah, that sounds like something that would be a little controversial.
Yeah. Um
Oh man, I don't know what I want to do for food, but maybe I'll do something.
yeah,
Because I want something to eat.
I'll need to quickly make food after this podcast before I head off to work.
You're heading in early, right? Early today?
Yeah, 1:30 p.m.
Woohoo!
But I'm not complaining too much because I got to make as much money as I can before I got to try to start moving into a new place.
Oh, nice. What's the plan there, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, I'm gonna try to move closer to work. It's just that I've been in this place for about 5 years now, and it's like falling apart, and the landlords don't care. You know, they barely ever fix anything, and I'm
Yeah,
just
that sounds like
this place is getting really stagnant. You know, getting really cramped, and yeah. But basically, what made me want to move is they decided to increase my rent by $100 a week. And so that inspired me to go and look at what other places I could, move into for the same amount of rent. And there were a lot of better places. So, and
that's kind of when you decided, like, yeah,
yeah,
I'm definitely going there.
and if they're going to charge me $100 extra for this place, like I think they could only justify that if they were to renovate the place. Like this place in the state that it's in now, it's not worth that much. It's not worth market value.
Yeah, I
So
mean, so if you can find the better place, like, yeah, just take it. There's no reason not to, you know what I mean?
yeah, and hopefully when I do that, I'll be able to like set up a proper studio and put a green screen behind me, and maybe start making more professional YouTube content.
Oh, that would be fun. That'd be
You know,
fun.
maybe actually put a video of myself up while we're doing these.
What would you use as a camera?
I'd probably buy something. I just know that the only camera I've got at the moment is just my laptop. The one built into my laptop.
Yeah, as long as it works.
I mean, I pretty much never use my laptop screen. I've always just got it plugged into my TV. But
Oh,
yeah,
damn.
I'd rather have like a proper prepared space before I like video myself. Where I might have collectibles in the background or something.
No, yeah, that makes sense. You'll essentially leave it ready.
Yeah, I think if I were to turn my camera on right now, people would see how much of a mess my place is.
That's why I have mine angled upwards.
Yeah.
That way nobody can see the pigsty I live in. This is what I call home.
Yeah, well,
No,
anyway, another game that I wanted to talk about, I've been playing more Diablo 4, and
how'd that go?
I've completed the campaign now, and I don't know, I don't know if it's just because I feel like a lot of existential dread about time passing and what I'm spending that time on, but yeah, I completed the campaign in Diablo 4, and it started to get really grindy, and yeah, I ended up turning on Brotato and found that a lot more fun for the time that I'm spending.
Hmm.
Plus I find that Diablo 4 actually kind of sucks in a lot of fundamental ways in terms of the skills and its mechanics. Like a lot of people at the upper levels of the game have been complaining about how it just gets really stagnant. You're just using the same skills over and over, and there's like no variety in them. Like in Diablo 3, you at least had those six choices or runes that you could put on your skills to have them behave in different ways. In Diablo 4, I'm just getting really bored of the same old bone spear that I've been using since level 1.
Oh,
I'm still using that same bone spear just with scaled up damage, you know, at level 53. And yeah, then I went to a druid and I tried to play a druid, and I don't know, I just wasn't doing much damage, wasn't having much fun, and decided to go back to that Brotato game and put another
and
20 hours in it.
were you at no point able to upgrade that bone spear, or was it just the best option?
Well, like I've been playing a game called Last Epoch recently, and they have this really cool mechanic where each skill has its own skill tree. So, for example, I don't know, let's say you have a bone spear in Last Epoch, you get the skill, it has its basic, behavior, but then you can branch off on different branches to make it like a cold bone spear or a fire one or a poison one. And then you can
Right.
go branch off on other options and have it, do three projectiles at a time, or you can have it do one large projectile. And you just have all these options about where you can, you have all these, decisions you can make about how your skill ends up behaving. Whereas in Diablo 3, you could choose from like six different variants of how your skill behaves. Whether it's multiple projectiles or big projectiles. And in Diablo 4, there's none of that. It's just, yep, you got Bone Spear. It just
Yep,
shoot,
you got bone spear.
yeah, it just shoots, a piercing projectile, and it looks exactly the same at level, 50 that it did when you got it at level 2. It's just,
I was playing. That reminds me, actually. I was playing my every 2 weekly session, bi-monthly session of Pathfinders, right?
mm-hmm.
And there was something like when you mentioned spells that reminded me because we apparently fought a boss yesterday, but somebody decided, oh, you know what? Let me do a sword dance, basically. They ended that sword dance by just catching him, and he rolled to try and kill the damn thing, and he instantly just murdered it. And it was like, wow, okay, well that was easy, because that was it. That was the boss fight. Literally just him dancing and cutting its head off. And I was like, oh, okay, well that's cute. I guess that was it. It was like he didn't even get to use any of his spells or shields or anything along those lines.
Oh, yeah,
That's kind of what made me think of it.
that's when you can tell that a game's kind of lame, when you don't actually have to use any of your resources that the game gives you.
Mhm.
Like, so sometimes you'll just end up hoarding potions because you never use them, and you're never inclined to use them because the game's not difficult enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, this one was a slightly different situation in that he literally just got lucky. The dice rolled perfectly in his favor.
Oh, yeah, because
He rolled
Pathfinder's like
naturally.
a D&D sort of game with like
Yeah,
dice rolls and stuff.
basically.
Yeah,
It's that. Yeah, it's that kind of game.
yeah,
And it was something else to say the least. Ooh, chalky milk.
yeah. So what else have you been playing?
For the most part, it's just been that I've been doing a lot more 7 Days to Die. I have played a little bit of Arma, but not much since last week. I think we talked about that last week. That was been
Yeah,
my biggest one that I've been playing this month. But then with 7 Days to Die, with all the upgrades that they're doing or all the updates, that's kind of the next thing that I've been playing. Jesus Christ, we just had a scary situation. You know what Night 7 is, right? On 7 Days to Die?
no, I haven't played it, but yeah, you can tell our audience.
Okay. So 7 Days to Die, basically, on the seventh night, there's always a giant horde. And these things come at you like ready to eat you, no matter what. During the day, they usually walk unless you change the setting, but at night is when they run. So they just send like, we're supposed to have like around 40, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like millions. It's just horrifying. But it's so much fun. Like, oh my god. We just had a situation where we were hiding in like a super secure bunker. We're like, you know what, let's make a back entrance so we can leave. And as soon as we started hitting it, we just attracted everything. They all came right for us. And yeah, we died. We
They're
just got
coming
massacred,
right for us. Boom.
basically.
Yeah,
And then we just get splattered across the floor.
yeah.
That's basically what it was.
That,
Damn
that,
it.
that was a
Yeah.
reference to a funny bit on South Park. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
the what was his name? Uncle
J-
Jimbo.
yeah, Jimbo.
They're coming right for us.
Speaking of that, I just got the Hunter on Epic for free, and that's an interesting looking game that I might consider playing at some point.
What's it called? The Hunter?
Yeah, it's like literally just a hunting game, but
Oh,
it's got
what were you
really
gonna say?
good graphics. Like I think on high end machines you can put the graphics way up and it looks really realistic, like the scenery and everything.
Hmm.
And yeah, I've just heard that it's like a really authentic hunting experience where every little thing can affect your like there's wind that will like if you're
Upwind.
yeah upwind from an animal they can smell you and stuff like that.
That reminds me of I
Uh,
mean, because I'm pretty sure
oh,
I've played the Hunt before.
what's interesting is that they've just released Australian DLC where you can hunt in the Australian outback, which is what got
Oh,
my
it's home.
attention. It's like, that's
It's
interesting.
home for you.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh my god.
what were you saying? You're trying to beat Mother?
Yep. She's almost dead. Come on. No. Come on, come on. Oh, I just got smacked.
Oh man.
That's a big fat rest in spaghetti, never forgetting. Oh man, that really sucks. Oh wow, oh wow. That's how the game goes. Yeah, I know. What's it called? Have you heard of BattleBit? Did you hear me talking about that earlier in the gaming channel?
No.
So that one's pretty cool. That one's like pretty sure at this point that they're spoofing Battlefield a little bit with a few other things that they do. Like I believe there's Twitch a Twitch live right now, basically of like come see what's new with BattleBit or something along those lines, which is almost a direct spoof of something Battlefield does. Come check out the future of Battlefield. I think that's what it was.
Hmm.
So that was always I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, the only experience I've had with Battlefield is one time at high school. Um, they set up like a gaming LAN, and yeah, we had like I don't know like 15 students go up to a computer lab and we were all playing Battlefield together,
Hmm.
whichever one was out at that time. I remember thinking it was pretty
Cool.
cool.
Yeah, I like Battlefield. It was a fun game. I didn't like Battlefield 2042 too much. I got that one, but I was like, eh.
Yeah, I heard that got pretty terrible reviews,
I've
and
heard it's doing better now, but I'm not gonna try it.
all
I'm gonna
the
enjoy my Battlefield.
monetization that they're squeezing into every AAA game nowadays.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of
To be
turning me
fair,
off.
the amount of work that has to go into make a AAA game is insane.
Yeah, I think I would prefer them just increase the price rather than
And then give you what's it called? Additional
microtransactions.
little. Yeah.
Yeah. Although they're not going to do that because it's just that much more profitable for them to put season passes and microtransactions in than even to increase the game by $30.
Well, they have already started increasing it little bits, like at $10 more. Like the last, I've had a few games already where I've had to buy them for 70.
Yeah. Now, like people were complaining about how Zelda was like $10 more than Nintendo games usually were. And I'm
Hmm.
like, it's probably kind of about time games went up in price a bit because
They've been at
everything,
60 for a
yeah,
while.
and everything else is going up in price. Food's going up in price, and people are having to pay more rent to keep a roof over their head. And I guess it's either games increase in price a bit too, not just because they kind of want to get paid, but they're a lot more time and resources go into making games. They're not like Binding of Isaac anymore. They're huge 3D,
Right, the amount
extremely
of resources
detailed
that it takes.
worlds. Um, but
The
I
software being used and the amount of resources that it takes just to create it is like, yeah, it's getting up there.
yeah. Um, so it's probably better that they just charge a bit more. But I guess since they discovered how profitable mobile game tactics can be, with
Oh yeah.
currency stores and all that crap, that they're actually better off doing that than even raising the price. But
Well, they'll probably just do both in conjunction.
yeah, but I just get sick of seeing games come out that are full price and then they also have exploitative microtransactions. Like Midnight Suns did it.
I don't know which one's Midnight Suns.
It was like a Marvel Tactics XCOM like game, I think.
I don't think I've heard of it.
You haven't heard of XCOM?
I'm pretty sure I have heard of XCOM, but I haven't heard of Marvel Midnight Sun.
Yeah. Well, uh, XCOM is kind of defined a whole genre of games. Where you kind of like move around on a grid tactics like. It's a tactics game.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got these Marvel superheroes, and instead of it being hack and slash live quick combat, it's you move them to a square, they do a certain attack, they have a chance of hitting or missing, and then your enemies take their turn, and yeah, it's like turn based on a grid sort of thing. And
Oh, okay.
a lot of
I know
people
what you're talking
use
about. I forgot what it's called.
yeah, a lot of people just say XCOM like, just like they'd say roguelike or Souls like. You know,
Right, right.
it's the first game that defined that genre.
Pretty crazy to think like how far we've come with games.
Oh yeah,
Like if that was the first, just imagine how many more there are now.
yeah. I grew up, the first video games I was playing was on the Sega Master System. I
How do you feel
actually
about where
I actually remember my first game. It was Alex the Kid in Miracle World.
Alex the Kid in Miracle World?
Yeah, it's it's what Sega tried to have as a mascot, and I think Alex the Kid was before Sonic even existed. Like
Damn.
yeah, they brought out this game Alex the Kid as like a built-in. It's actually a game that's built into the console, and they tried to have this Alex the Kid character as their mascot, and I think eventually Sonic came along, and then they just wanted to have that as the mascot because it was a lot more popular.
Damn furries.
Yeah, and I guess Alex this Kid still has a bit of a fan base, and
Still has a
more
bit of a following.
yeah, and more modern Alex the Kid games have come out since then. Like yeah, if you look it up, there are some relatively recent games called Alex the Kid in somewhere, and it's basically just a kid protagonist that can jump and shoot and basic platforming, classic platforming.
I don't think I've played that game actually now that I think about it.
Yeah, it was around before you were born, probably.
Well, even then, usually sometimes I'm still able to get, or at least know of it,
Yeah.
heard of references or something along those lines. But it probably is a little bit old. Though, you know what that reminds me of since you're mentioning a little old at this point? You ever watched Akira?
I've heard of yeah, it's an anime, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Good anime. Good anime, must say. The
Mm,
detail, the drawing, and then the overall story is pretty decent as well.
yeah. Yeah, I had a phase of anime for about 3 years, and I never really got back into anime.
Yeah, I never really got into it in the first place.
Like the ones I was watching back in my time. I remember the first anime I watched was called Wolf's Rain, and that's still one of
Hmm.
my favorites to this day. But I haven't compared it too much. And then also during those times, it was Chobits and Please Teacher and Fruits Basket.
I have never heard of these.
Oh wow,
Well,
yeah,
again, I don't really watch. I don't watch anime at all, basically.
yeah. These would have been 2000, yeah, 2000 to 2003 animes. But yeah, I'm a lot more into live action shows now, and I recently watched a show called The Summit, and I also really like Survivor. Those are reality TV shows.
Oh, okay, okay. I like Survivor. That one's pretty good. I know
Cool.
for me, I still love cartoons.
Yeah,
Cartoons are always pretty fun. Have you seen the new Lackadaisy cartoon?
no. Yeah, the only cartoons I really watch other than MLP is pretty much, adult ones like Rick and Morty or Family Guy, South
Oh yeah,
Park.
those are pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, MLP was pretty much just the one exception. And maybe the first season of Pokemon I enjoyed a fair bit.
I remember I was sick for like 3 days, so I decided to put on Pokemon, and I think I binged up to episode like 220.
Yeah, yeah, because the first season of Pokemon's like 200 episodes or something. It's insane.
Is it?
Yeah, and then the second season is like 13 episodes, and it just completely changes. And yeah, it starts being a more reasonable size anime. I'm pretty
Hmm,
sure.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was like a pretty insane amount of episodes for season one.
I remember season one. Yeah, it did have a pretty insane episode count. I
Yeah.
still just don't remember what it was. There we go. What's it called? One thing I do remember about all that, I remember seeing like, quote unquote, the major emotional parts for the beginning part of it, and I was always like, huh, so that's where it came from. I still always remember that. Like, when you first find out, like, oh, so that's where the stupid thing is from, or that's where that reference is from. You know what I'm talking about?
Uh, Sorry, which game?
No, for example, like in Pokemon,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
when you when you
Yeah.
see a reference for the first time and you finally understand it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, you'll probably come across a lot of memes that came from
Yeah.
Pokemon. Yeah. Oh, like Brock being a pervert is a common meme.
Oh yeah, but that's just because he is.
Yeah. I
What's it
think kids cartoons used to be able to get away with like
get things past the censors?
yeah, and like like the early cartoons from like my parents' era, had blatant like advertising of smoking and racism in them.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's because at that time everything like that was like, oh, it's not an issue.
Yeah,
Smoking
that's
that
just like
increases
the
your health.
oh yeah,
That just means you live a more fulfilling life.
yeah, and caused my grandmother to die pretty painfully. Yeah, from her
Yeah,
spending
but
her
that's
life smoking.
semantics.
Yeah,
You just gotta smoke. That's what they want you to do. Oh man. Yeah, glad I never picked up that habit.
yeah, that's probably one good thing about having not fit in very well at school. I never felt peer pressured to fit in because I didn't want to fit in with those, douchebag jock muscle brains. I don't know. But yeah, I never wanted to fit in with them, so I never felt the need to smoke in order to be cool or anything like that. And I've literally still never smoked a cigarette in my whole life.
Uh, I have, but I never really got into it, I guess you can say. Thankfully, it never really took. But some days when I was tired at work, I was like, you know what, screw this. I need a little something, something, and I didn't have anything else. I was like, you know what, would you mind if I just bummed one off you?
Hmm. Yeah,
But
well,
never really to the point where I was like, oh yeah, great. As far as school goes, I remember people knew my name, but I could not be bothered to learn anyone else's name. I just always forgot it.
oh yeah.
I was
That's happening a lot at work right now. Um, I'm like one of the few fluent English speakers in my job at the moment, and like everyone else, they're brown in some way, like
Mhm.
they're not white, and
No one
basically
speak
they've
any English.
and basically they've all got some of the weirdest names I've ever heard, to the point that they can tell me their name 5 times and I still won't remember it. For some of the guys, I've had to actually read it. I'm like, okay, I need to read the name, then I might be able to remember it. And but even then, I don't know if it's like racist for me to say this or something, but even then, I can be like, oh yeah, there's that guy, his name is this. But then another guy comes in and he looks almost exactly the same. I'm like, oh crap, I don't know who's who. They look that similar to each other. And they also look similar to my boss too. Like my boss is a bit, foreign looking. And
In the same sense.
yeah. And so sometimes I'll even see my boss and he'll wave at me and I'm like, wait, who is that? Oh, right, that's my boss.
All right, guys, signs my checks.
Yeah. And happens a lot at work at the moment, because I happen to be in an industry where they tend to hire people who, have English as like their second or third language.
I see. Yeah, I mean, we're out here, it gets a little annoying. I mean, for me, it's not too much of an issue because I can speak the language, but it's like there's some people that just I don't know. They grew up their entire lives here in the States and they never learn English. And it's like, okay, like
Uh,
to me, it's just like, damn, how do you get by?
yeah,
Because like that literally just means you're stuck in your community.
yeah, I thought there was, like some sort of minimum literacy required to, come into Australia. But there was literally one guy at work, and I think he got fired because he just kept doing a bad job.
Hmm.
And the only way you could communicate with him was for him to get his phone out, and he would ask you to type on his phone what you want to say to him, and then he would get Google Translate or something to translate the message that you type on his phone. And that was literally the only way you could communicate with people. And I'm like,
Yeah, at a
I
certain point,
kind
it's
of
like,
don't get how how he could even enter the country if he can't even say really basic. Yeah, like he was Chinese, I think, and
hmm
he literally had to, yeah, use a translator on his phone to communicate with anyone, and that obviously caused a lot of issues at work. Like I'd see him trying to talk to someone, and they're like, or someone's trying to talk to him, and they're like, "Hey, you left the fridge open," and he's like, "Huh, what?" And he's like, brings out his phone. He's like, and it's
put it
like,
in here, put it in here.
yeah, and it's like, oh my. And I think he was just really bad at the job because no one could tell him how to do anything without a huge amount of effort of the language barrier.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean, especially once it's something like that, it's like it really does take up so much extra time. You know what I mean?
yeah,
When it's something along these lines, it's like, listen, how much time are you spending just getting someone to constantly translate something for you along those lines? You know what I mean?
yeah. But I mean, the other thing is that I think because like yeah, when I first started this job pushing trolleys, I kept yeah, like I started off working in, like around midday. Like I wasn't working nights at first, and I was talking to the morning shift guy, and he would constantly tell me how terribly the wrap up was done the night before, And it just so happened that these terrible wrap-ups that were done, like where, no trolleys are put back into the center of the car park at the end of the day. No trolleys are put in the reserve to make it easier for the morning shift the next day, to get trolleys quickly for the morning rush. Every single one of those bad mornings that he told me about was after he had, the Chinese guy had done the night shift. So that's why I think he did so badly. And now I'm the main night shift guy. Like I do almost every night shift except for Tuesday. And so I've gotten really good at it. And however, I've never done such a bad job that, the morning would be described as, the way the morning shift guy that I used to talk to explained how it was left sometimes. Like even on my worst days, I would never do that bad a job at the wrap up. And it's like, and it's kind of hard to comprehend how a wrap up could be done that badly. And I don't know, maybe it's because he just couldn't understand anything, didn't understand what he was supposed to do.
That's the only thing I can imagine. Like something got lost in translation because you can't be that bad at your job. Like Jesus Christ, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, so since I took over the night shift, I've been complimented a lot, and my boss has actually given me 4 commendations. And what that means, like I just thought he was saying good job, whatever, and it like gets officially recognized on the employee website. It's like, oh, this this manager gave this employee a commendation. But what I actually found out later was that I get points from that, and I was actually able to use those points to get gift card vouchers. So
Okay.
yeah, that was pretty cool. I got a bonus $40 of groceries for being commended on doing my job well, which was handy.
Yeah, I mean, especially since you're, most likely going to do it like that anyway,
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's kind of nice to have that additional little, acknowledgement, to say the least.
Mm.
Oh, I think I know what I'm going to make later.
Yeah.
Just because I'd be hungry. I'm definitely going to make some fries. Well,
Yeah, I'm probably going to get nachos. I got to get something quick, and
how
then
long till you
get
work?
ready to go to work.
How long until you work?
Yeah, 1:30, but I'll probably. I mean, this
Right.
recording's been going for an hour. We might go to an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, depending
Yeah, it
on if
depends
you're up for
on,
that.
yeah, it depends on, what else we have to say and whatnot.
Yeah, like
But yeah, I was going to also say, remember, for me, it's 7:30 p.m. I have no clue what time it is for you at the moment.
yeah, it's 10:36 a.m.
Okay, see, that's a good amount of hours away, or
Yeah,
off, difference.
yeah.
Oh,
Um.
man.
Anyway, I do have some notes here of some other things I wanted to discuss. I got a pretty exciting
Like-
email. Yeah, my mystery pony fiction
Raid,
podcast.
Shadow Legends.
That I'm
No,
gonna start uploading this. Oh
show
well,
too?
hey, if they want to sponsor me, even I would sink as low as sponsoring Raid Shadow Legends. To be honest,
Don't say you're sinking as low. You're moving up. For God's sakes, you have a sponsor. How many people can claim that?
I think everyone I think Raid Shadow, everyone has that as a sponsor once they get big enough, I guess. But anyway,
Not everyone sinks low enough to do that.
yeah. Anyway, I got an email from some, random guy, and he said that my podcast was put on a list of the top 35 fan fiction podcasts.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, cool. So I click the link, and it takes me to this site, and it shows a list of it was called I meant to write it down. It's called Feed Pod or something. I meant to write it down in my notes, but I didn't, so I'm going to look at my email. But anyway, I'm apparently 27th in the world for fan fiction podcasts, according to this place called oh, that's an email from you. Da, da, da.
You're welcome.
Ah, here we go. FeedSpot. So, Mystery Pony Fiction featured in FeedSpot top 35 fan fiction podcasts. And then I browsed a bit more on that site and I found out that I'm the fourth highest fan fiction podcast in Australia. But then I decided to search that term FeedSpot and I found some articles talking about that it's a scam and that this FeedSpot will, target certain well, I guess podcasts or blogs and put it on a list, and then try to convince that podcast or whoever hosts to provide personal information like their socials and stuff like that to this list of So
That's not good.
yeah, it's probably not legitimate, and my podcast has been put on this list, and it's actually just a guy that's fishing for information by putting podcasts on this list and then contacting that podcast owner and saying, oh, guess what? You're one of the top whatever podcasts. Check out this list I made, and then give me all your social details, your Facebook and your Instagram and everything, so that I can gather information on you and then probably sell it to companies and then you'll
third party.
and then you'll end up getting thousands of ads from companies that I've shared your information to.
Right.
So like I was excited at first, but then I looked into it and I found that this is probably a scam, a guy that's trying to scam me and other small time podcasters.
Well, yeah, that's literally what it is.
Yeah, so I just thought I'd share that, and maybe if anyone else happens to get an email from this FeedSpot, to be careful.
They'll know instantly, like, hey, this is probably fake.
Yeah, because I like go into the website and it says, oh, please provide all these details so that we can promote your podcast even more or whatever. And I was kind of like, let me check if this is a scam. And on Google there's lots of articles that explained what I just explained. So
that is very unfortunate to hear.
Yeah, because it's a possibility that this so-called top list, doesn't even get any actual viewers itself. It's just trying to get information. So being on this so-called list is probably not publicly available or publicly bringing any actual real traffic to my channel from the looks of it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like it would be, something that would probably happen because, like you said, it's literally just him trying to fish for your information.
Yeah. But I'm at least a little flattered that I was noticed enough to, be noticed by scammers.
Hey, you got to look at the bright side of things, right?
Yeah, so starting to get a little bit famous.
Just a bit. Now you have scammers calling.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. Yeah, it reminds me of all those scammers we used to get, like, hello, your auto's warranty is expired.
Oh, yeah.
And they try a whole rigmarole just to get, more of your information.
Yep, and Chinese robocallers. I get a lot of those.
I haven't gotten any of those, thankfully.
Yeah. I think I've gotten myself in a bit of a bad situation where I have shared information in shoddy places, and that's the reason that I get more scam callers than some other people that were probably more careful. Because every week I get like a some Chinese robot voice calling me, and I hang up immediately, and it can get annoying, and sometimes they can call at really inappropriate times. And it sucks because I kind of have to pick up my phone and find out if it's my boss wanting me to come in early or something else important.
Right, right. Because you never know exactly what it could be. It's like, well, either it's someone that needs me, or it's basically just a complete, nonsense phone call that's going to waste my time.
Yeah.
And you get to figure out more or less which one it is. Woohoo!
Yeah. Yeah, there was this one time when I got called by, like, I used to be with Optus as my phone provider, but not anymore because, well, I changed to Telstra or Dodo, which is a subsidiary of Telstra. But what
Oh,
happened was recently Optus got like really heavily hacked. Like I don't know
oh,
if you,
nice.
yeah, it was like worldwide news that yeah, I'm sure Mudahar or someone covered it, but yeah, it was a pretty big event where Optus just got completely compromised, and everyone that was using Optus, a lot of their personal information got found by scammers, and it was a big public nightmare for the company, and I think a lot of people left Optus after that. I
It would have
personally,
been a disaster.
yeah, I personally just happened to leave shortly before it happened, just because another better deal came up. It was like, oh, I can join Dodo as my phone provider and get a cheaper price and stop paying the high price that Optus was. But then it was shortly after that that yeah, I found out about a big hack that was all over the news, and
Kind of wondered if they got your info or not.
yeah, I mean, some of my info was probably in that hack too, so maybe that's why too much of my
So,
information is
thank God.
publicly available. No, but
Oh,
it's happened all my life. I think one of the first, like way back when I was a teenager, I was using Hotmail, and I think that just using Hotmail caused a lot of my public information to get out there, just from like signing into Hotmail and like public library computers and stuff like that. It probably turns out as a very bad idea because some of my best friends were getting Hotmail emails from me, and they were saying that I was sending them, yeah, like chain letters and stuff, and I was like, I didn't do that, and yeah, it looks like it turned out,
yeah, you got hacked.
yeah, yeah, I got hacked, but I could still log into my Hotmail and everything like that, so it seemed like they didn't change my email, they just went into my, or didn't change my password, they just went into my email and used my email to spam my contacts, I guess. And so since then, I stopped using Hotmail and I changed to Gmail. And yeah, I just completely abandoned Hotmail, hoping that it would solve a lot of those problems.
Well, I mean, specifically, I know some of them are a bit more secure than other ones. I don't. I mean, I wouldn't doubt if Gmail's been hacked at some point, but I haven't heard anything recently about it. You know what I mean? About them having those kind of issues.
Mm.
Hmm. I'm trying to think right now. I mean, I'm certain that I've put my email in places where it doesn't belong, so I wouldn't doubt it at some point if there was, some issues. But I don't think I've ever had anything like that where somebody was actually sending out emails on my behalf.
Mm.
So it's unfortunate on that one. Pretty fortunate.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about, my email, somebody just sending random things to people I know, like, hey, click on this link. Trust me.
Yep. Yep. You should never click on unsolicited links. Apparently, a lot of that's been going on in Discord too. People getting
Hmm.
randomly DM'd, and you got to be careful of those.
I had so many of those. They just keep adding. What I usually do is just double check to see if we have any of the servers in common.
Hmm.
Generally, that's how I check.
Yeah, yeah. See if someone else is in the fan fiction or filmfiction.net server.
Whatever it may be, any because I mean, they can add you from any server. So it's just like, you know what? Are you in a server that I'm in? It's kind of like the first BS thing that I use. Like, is this a lie or is this the truth? What is this? And then for me, I know what was it? I remember I've had some people message me saying that they're trying to sell art and stuff like that. But for God's sakes, I have a feeling that half of them aren't really that. You know what I mean?
They might even be AI generated art that they're trying to.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it because that's kind of what it looked like.
Yeah.
It did not look amazing. It didn't. They did not impress.
Yeah,
I
I
was like,
mean, you got people at the top level trying to commit scams like Donald Trump's NFT AI generated art of himself. He's
I mean,
full on
I
trying
don't
to
know.
sell to people.
I don't know if you can call that a scam. That was more like he saw an opportunity. He's like, oh yeah, these people are gonna eat this shit up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd say it was more that. It was just like he saw an opportunity. He was like, oh, everyone loves these NFTs. I don't know what that is, but if they love it, all right, I'll give the
Yeah,
people what they want.
yeah,
That's how I see that one. He's like, oh, perfect, a business opportunity. And those stupid things sold out quick. I remember hearing that those things sold out in like the first day, didn't they?
yeah. And then you got the scam that Logan Paul did with
That
Crypto
one was
Zoo.
I do remember that one. That one was a legit scam. He told people he was going to make a really great cartoon or something like that, right?
Yeah,
And then it was just nonsense. It literally did not do good at all.
yeah. And I think a lot of big YouTubers get caught up in actually propagating these scams, which is quite unfortunate. Like I told you about AVGN. I hope I'm not repeating what I said about him before, Angry Video Game Nerd, but how is
Oh god.
but how a lot of his sponsors are complete and utter lies, like
Ugh,
VPN ads claiming that you can that you can override Netflix's you know, that you can watch things from you can change your country and be able to watch things on Netflix, but that doesn't work anymore. It used to, like
oh really?
3 years ago, 4 years ago. Like I'm just seeing it so often now that I'm starting to doubt myself because maybe it's just Netflix in Australia that is that blocks people that tries to use VPNs for that because I can't because otherwise so many YouTubers are taking blatant liars as sponsors. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you have a VPN and see if you're able to actually watch something on Netflix in another country. But
I do not.
yeah,
I do not have a VPN.
but I know that I can't. And either YouTube, all these YouTubers taking these sponsored ads are, complete lies and complete false advertising, or maybe it's more localized to just Australia, Australian Netflix not letting me watch Netflix when I set my location to South Africa or something. Because I remember I used
No,
to do that
I've
because a
never
lot of Marvel shows were exclusive to South Africa for some reason for a while.
really.
Yeah, on Netflix, like Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl. Um, yeah, like those weren't available in Australia, and I think South Africa was the closest country to mine that I could change my location to in a VPN where it was available.
Hmm. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
and
never actually. I've never used a VPN either.
Australia also seems to hate ponies as well because we only ever get like the first two seasons of G4 MLP on Netflix. You know, whereas if you change your location to America, they usually have 8 seasons on there.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We deserve the poem. That's all it is.
Yeah. But the other weird thing is that there is a 9th season, right? And
Yeah, that's
apparently
the
the
last one,
ninth,
isn't it?
yeah, the 9th season of MLP is G4 is almost impossible to find any legitimate way to watch it. Like,
Oh,
I
they're in Australia.
well, not just here, but like I said, America probably usually has ponies up to season 8, but not 9. And yeah, it's been a pretty common thing I've heard that you pretty much can't watch yeah, you pretty much the only way to watch season 9 of MLP is through illegitimate means.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. Because that was actually funny enough. I just found it through quote unquote illegitimate means.
So you
I
do
haven't
have
seen.
season 9 there.
Yeah,
Well,
I haven't seen this in forever. I'm not gonna play into the audio because
yeah, copyright. Yeah, just don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't do any copyright stuff. Just I hope that just seeing some of the cartoons not too copyrighted. But yeah,
that's certainly the hope.
yeah. So since you're able to do things on your screen and I'm recording it, maybe you could just bring up the next game that I'm going to talk about on on Steam store page.
So, what's it called?
It's called MMORPG Tycoon
Pretty sure
2. Well, don't show your payment details. Don't dox
I don't
yourself.
think it showed much. I don't think it showed much, thankfully. Tycoon 2?
Yeah. So this is a game that I bought probably a year ago, and I've been waiting for it to get more and more content. And I just think it's a really cool premise for a game where it's a game about designing a game. And yeah, you literally try to create your own World of Warcraft or whatever, and you're actually the one who's behind balancing everything, trying to you make up your own classes, give them abilities, and you try to have them all. Yeah, it's basically a game about game design, and I actually want to start a series where I build Equestria in this game, right? And I
Okay.
like reference map of Equestria and try to create a region that's Ponyville and Sweet Apple Acres to the south and Everfree Forest, and sort of make my own RPG that's set in Equestria.
That would actually be really cool.
Yeah, it would be really cool, but I did record an hour of myself playing it, um, and I just played through the tutorial, and I think it looked really boring. Like, I'm not sure if I want to release what I recorded and the kind of bland commentary I had on it. But yeah, I had this idea to create a series where I'm like making Equestria, but I think to actually pull it off, it would be a bit too challenging to have interesting commentary through the whole thing and to have like 6 hours of just watching me change slight sliders on models of characters until they look perfectly like a pony and stuff like that. Like
How much can you change?
uh, it's pretty amazing. Like they give you these models. Like I actually played this game like a year ago, and I made a really cool looking Earth Pony, Pegasi, and Unicorn, and I had that as like the first main 3 classes.
Hmm.
And like you can play the game in sandbox mode, or you can play it in more of a game mode where you're actually earning money and you're gradually unlocking features in the game. Like you start off with 3 classes, and then as you earn more subscribers to your MMO and the game and stuff, you can start adding more classes as features to your game. And yeah, I literally made an Earth Pony, Unicorn, and Pegasi classes, and gave them abilities like a lot of the Earth Pony's abilities are to do with kicking, and I had, magic on the unicorn and speed and flying abilities on the Pegasus. And
Oh,
yeah,
nice. You were really into it then at that point. You had put down a lot.
yeah, it probably took, yeah, I probably spent 20 hours in it, and then I kind of wished that I'd recorded it and maybe made like a review video or something. So that's what I kind of tried to do this weekend. But by the time I'd recorded an hour, I was like really slowly and boringly adjusting sliders on a model to try and make it look like Applejack. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so. I'm not really enjoying myself very much trying to just make bland commentary while I do this. So
Yeah,
I
if you're
kind of
not
gave
having
up.
fun,
I kind of gave
if
up,
you're not
stopped the
having
recording,
fun,
and
I think
thought,
anyone would be, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Anyone would be watching and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, oh
yeah.
boy."
But yeah, it's a game that inspired me to maybe want to do that someday, to actually make like a live stream of me playing MMORPG 2 and creating Equestria. Because when I played it a year ago, I did make some pretty cool looking zones. Like I made an Everfree Forest zone and I made a Canterlot zone. I made up to like level 10 of the game, and
Right.
I was like, I wish I recorded this, um, and recorded what I made. But yeah, tried to do
No,
it
I mean,
again, recording this time, and I just don't think it turned out well enough to want to bother showing to people.
that's how it goes sometimes. Not everything's gonna be, a home run, a slam dunk, and whatnot.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a
You
very
gotta wait.
fascinating game,
Yeah.
and I'm really looking forward to like the full version coming out.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. What is it right now? Beta? Early access?
Yeah, I think it's about 60% done. They're promising that the next update will be dungeons, where you can actually, yeah, have like an instance area and decorate it, just like you do with the overworld.
Right.
And it's just really interesting because there's like mechanics going on while you're playing, like you're literally seeing all your players going out and exploring your world. And you can make like quest givers and have the quest givers tell them to go kill 5 wolves over there. And then you'll literally see the player,
You'll see it happen.
yeah, yeah, you'll see them go to that quest giver and then go and kill 5 wolves. And it's really fascinating game that I had quite a lot of fun with.
Thinking about it's pretty funny actually thinking about how literally the mechanics behind going to tell someone to go do something like that.
Yeah,
Like when you say you're gonna go do an MMORPG, you're gonna make one, but it's quite literally like it's coded to be exactly that, to give you the ability to make an MMORPG. I just think that's really funny.
yeah. It's just surprising how deep the game is, and that, like, if you're not careful with balancing, you'll actually have your players in the game that are simulated in the game complain that your game's not balanced, that they're dying too easily, or that the game is too easy. So it's just really fun to try to find the right balances to make your players happy. And
That does sound really fun actually.
yeah, and I've seen some articles about how it is a really, really legitimate experience of actual game design, of what it's like.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's basically simulating, yeah, trying to actually balance abilities and whatever you give to the classes to, not be like what one thing I actually did when I was playing the game was I decided to make an alicorn class, and I literally made it extremely OP. Just because I thought it'd be funny and see what happens. And then literally everyone who was starting the game was picking the alicorn, and like just
Yeah, I don't doubt that. If it's so OP, why wouldn't you?
yeah. And then I ended up with the alicorn class being way overpopulated compared to all the other classes.
So does that do anything like in terms of ruin any kind of gaming or ruin any kind of like the base of the game or something along those lines? Will the players be like, "Bruh, why are you doing this?"
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like it literally simulates, the
Them
yeah,
getting pissy with you?
Yeah, sending tickets and and you actually have to hire like people to manage fixing bugs and stuff. It's really detailed. I think yeah, especially when it gets to full version, it's going to be really fascinating. And
Goodness, yeah. For the love of all things good.
yeah,
This is like some kind of. Sorry, I just pulled up a random
yeah,
game.
yeah, I've heard about that game. It's got like outstandingly positive reviews and stuff.
Oh, really? I haven't even checked it. This is the first time I'm seeing it ever.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, it's like really detailed simulation of like you can literally destroy anything, and it destroys in a really realistic way. You can
Okay, okay.
yeah, like you can see you can shoot walls and have anything crumble and yeah, this is just what I've heard about it. It does look pretty cool.
Yeah, so far I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
At
it's
least
like
the way it looks.
literally everything's destructible.
Okay. Okay, do you see this? Okay, what is that? Alright, this looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me kind of Gary's Mod, if you ever played Gary's Mod.
Well, yeah. I know what Gary's mod is, but I've never delved into it myself. But you can kind of use Gary's mod as like a video maker, and make your own like cinematics or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much when you think about it, that's basically what they did in the beginning of with MLP.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Not not
I've seen a lot of
that's how a lot of them were made.
yeah, like I've seen a lot of MLP little 3D videos being made with Gary's mod and stuff. Oh, there's Starfield. That's a game that a lot of people are looking forward to. I think I'll
Where's
do.
Starfield?
I was in the featured next to Brotato a little bit. Yeah, Starfield.
There it is.
That
Actually, you know what my buddy was telling me about this game.
yeah, this is apparently Bethesda's next big Skyrim. You know, they did
They're trying to get the taste of Fallout 76 out of their mouth.
but hopefully they don't disappoint people. Apparently there's 1,000 planets and they're all equally interesting according to them, which is kind of
Oh,
hard to
I'm
believe.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure they're all equally interesting. They're probably just slight variations of each other. You can't get up to 2,000 without having like some kind of slight variation.
yeah. Anyway, the last thing on my list that I wanted to say is screw Sony because I really want to play Final Fantasy 16. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, but I literally have to go buy a PS5 if I want to play Final Fantasy 16. It sucks.
No, yeah, that's not gonna happen. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, but what sucks now is that I've heard that it's an amazing game. So that hurts even more. It's like I have to miss out on it because I don't have a PS5 and I'm hearing that it's amazing. So I've got to sit around and wait for probably a year before it comes out on a platform that I can play it on. And I'm probably going to spend that long trying to avoid spoilers too, till I eventually
Why
get to
don't you
play.
go to Why don't you go to like a video game cafe or something along those lines, so that you're able to, play it without having to get a PS5?
Well, that sounds like a really awkward place to try and play a game for one thing, but yeah, I
I
might
mean,
have I might have to.
own the PS5. You don't own the PS5. You might as well get some use out of the ones that they're letting you rent now.
Yeah, well, that's what I might have to do at this point. Is maybe rent a PS5 for a limited time just so I can play that one game.
Oh,
Because there's literally no other reason to buy a PS5. Whatever else comes out on the PS5, I can get on Xbox or PC. But just this
I gotta
one
wonder how
game,
much that's gonna cost though.
yeah. Yeah, I'd have
for
to
rent
pay
a
a
PS5.
$100 for the Final Fantasy 16 game, and yeah, I just thought I'd express it as something that I'm frustrated about with Sony and their getting exclusive games and stuff, getting the exclusive
Well, I
games that
mean,
I really want to play.
that's not too. That's par for the course for them, isn't it?
Yeah,
Same
well,
with Xbox. I think
I
they have
mean,
specific games that they never like show outside of Xbox or PS4, or I mean
yeah.
PlayStation.
Well, I mean, I guess that's what happens if you're trying to be in competition. You got to have some kind of
Ugh.
exclusive
Yeah, you gotta have some reason for them to buy your game.
to buy your console.
Or yeah, my bad, you buy your console.
Yeah.
And in this case, for them, it was Final Fantasy 16. Speaking of which, I love the Final Fantasy. I think 7. That win. What was it called? The win song or whatever. I
Oh yeah.
freaking love that one.
Yeah. Have you ever played Final Fantasy 7?
I haven't played any of the Final Fantasies.
Oh man, that's a shame because they're such awesome experiences. And
Oh, are they?
yeah, and I mean Final Fantasy 7 is one of the most famous ones, and another like that they remade the first like 10 hours of the game. Like Final Fantasy 7, the first 10 hours or 15 hours of the game, you're just stuck in this city called Midgard, or
Is it
Midgar, not Midgard, and they remade that part of the game into its own full RPG called Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and they literally turned the 10 hours of the first of that first part of Final Fantasy, and they like remake it completely into a full 3D current gen game, and apparently they're
They
gonna
remade it completely?
yeah yeah the whole first part of the game where you're stuck in the main city. It's kind of like the tutorial part of Final Fantasy 7, and then this remake literally ends at the point where you first set out outside that city and you enter like the whole world, the actual world map that the rest of the game takes place in. And apparently they're about to release that second part of the FF7 remake where you actually step outside of Midgard. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people are excited about it, but since you've never played Final Fantasy, probably
Yeah,
doesn't
I
mean
haven't
anything to
actually.
you. Yeah.
Kind of doesn't, because I don't quite know. Like I said, I've never played it before, you know what I mean?
Yeah, do you like
However,
turn-based
it's a
games
good
much,
thing.
like maybe Pokemon?
I do like Pokemon, but aside from that, I don't play turn-based games too much. Although I have played Civ 6. That one's a pretty good turn-based game that I really like.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Oh, I love.
yeah, Final Fantasy, classic JRPG with turn-based combat. But the more recent games have been getting more and more action-based. So, like in Final Fantasy 15, it's literally, hack and slash sort of combat in that compared to back in Final Fantasy 10 when it was, very turn-based.
So they go from like different phases almost. Some of them are a bit more turn-based than others.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, they were turn-based from like 1 to 10, and then yeah, they started to go in other directions in more modern days. Because yeah, then 11 was MMO, and then 12 they made it more of a real-time combat, but with like pausing in 12, and
Mm-hmm.
then 13 was yeah, it was back to sort of a auto battle system. And then yeah, they just gradually went to yeah, more action RPG combat, like you know Diablo or something. But the main good thing about Final Fantasy games is just how amazing the stories are that they write. Like
Oh, their deals are in their stories.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
like Pixar.
yeah. You play it for the plot, and like Final Fantasy VII's got a pretty amazing plot, and very like I'm sure you've heard of Sephiroth, in memes around the internet or whatever.
Mm, if
Uh,
I saw a picture of him, I think then I'd remember.
yeah, I don't know. It's just like, from my perspective, it's hard to imagine someone not knowing of the name Sephiroth. So
Well, enlighten me.
yeah, maybe I'm just that old.
I don't know anything about the lore of Final Fantasy, so I kind of need to be. I need a I need not even a refresher. I just need to be introduced, as it were.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Final Fantasy VII remake might be a good way to introduce you, because if you were to try to play Final Fantasy VII, you'd probably look at the graphics and be like, "Oh, that's gross."
Oh, that's
Because
gross.
yeah, because that's how old the game was. It was from like 1997, I think, was the Final
Okay, I
Fantasy
see.
VII. It was the first time the game went to 3D, because Final Fantasy VI was yeah, it was completely 2D sprites, classic Super NES game. And then 7, they went to 3D for the first time, but it was kind of it had like 3D models, but it had just painted backdrops that your 3D models would walk over. And it probably looks pretty gross compared to today's standards. But yeah, like I said, they've remade the whole first part of Final Fantasy VII as like an independent RPG.
I see.
Yeah, but they actually add to it too. So they stretch the first 10 hours of the game into like a 30-hour RPG, and they just extend the whole first part of Final Fantasy VII, where you're just stuck in the first main city.
So they were able to basically just I'm not gonna say remodel it, but redo that entire scene, basically.
Yeah, but they also updated the combat too. Like it's not turn-based anymore. It is literally, you know, it's yeah, it's action-based combat, but you can also keep pausing it and putting commands, and then unpause it and have those commands play out in real time. But it's just not like it used to be, where you literally pick a command from a menu, and then your character does the animation on their turn, and then the next character does the animation on their turn. It's instead, more yeah, action combat with pausing, and they did it really well.
Okay.
So it's a fun combat system, and they redid the whole ability system of the game, and how you equip spells and everything. I'd recommend it, and then maybe if you enjoy Final Fantasy VII enough, you'd actually be interested in going back to the earlier games.
Yeah, that's true because I mean, if I do enjoy it, there'd be no reason not to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it depends on how much graphics matter to you, like whether you're willing to go back to Super Nintendo graphics to experience Final Fantasy VI, which I think is almost as good as 7. Like that was a great experience too. But yeah, like I
Maybe. I
said,
mean,
it's turn-based combat where you literally just select fight on your menu or magic on a menu and just watch it play out. But obviously,
yeah, that doesn't exactly sound bad.
yeah, I mean, it's just like Pokemon, how you pick a move in Pokemon. The early Final Fantasy games, had that type of combat.
So I don't imagine you pick a Pokemon in Final Fantasy. What would you pick?
Well, you have, like fully fleshed out characters. Like, yeah, in Final Fantasy VII, there's a cast of like 7 characters, I think, and you choose 3 of them to play as your combat characters, but, the rest all still appear in cutscenes and everything, and you explore the stories of, all the characters. And
Okay, I see.
yeah, yeah, the Final Fantasy's biggest thing is just how brilliant their stories are, how relatable their characters are, and yeah, yeah, kind of like favorite ponies.
Yeah, we don't even want to get started there. We're gonna cause a flame war in the comments.
Yeah, exactly. But you have your favorite characters like, you know, in Final
Rarity.
Fantasy VII. Well, yeah, that's for
Oh, wait for
ponies.
me.
But like, if
Busy.
you're talking about Final Fantasy VII, you'd be talking about whether you think Cloud or Barrett are cooler out of the male characters, or who's hotter out of Aerith or Tifa.
Air it.
Yep, Aerith
I
is
don't
the
know. I don't.
correct answer. You're correct there. Well
Okay,
done.
good. Good. It's a total guess, but I'm glad. I'm glad I
No,
was right.
but that's something that could start flame wars. Who's hotter out of Aerith or Tifa. So,
All right, so that's my answer next time, Tifa.
oh damn you! No, no, we can't be friends
What?
anymore. No,
What's the problem? What did I do?
no, I'm just joking. It's just
I know, I know. I'm just screwing with you.
Aerith is my waifu. Tifa can, yeah, someone else can have
She can
Tifa.
watch. Oh man, I don't even know what these people look like. What these characters look like.
Well, I recommend FF7 remake. I think you'd really enjoy it. And since the second part is coming out soon, you might be able to, continue straight
Get
on and
into
play
it,
the
just
second
world.
part right after you finish the first. So yeah.
So all right, but it's a PS5 exclusive, right?
Final
The new
Fantasy
one.
16 is, yeah.
See, that's the
FF7
problem.
remake is available pretty much anywhere.
I'm
Actually,
gonna
no,
get
it's
into
not.
it,
It's
and by
only
the time
available
I'm
on
ready to
PC.
play it, they're just gonna be like, "Oh, by the way, it's another exclusive. You have to buy your console." Just be like, "Bruh."
Yeah, yeah. That's the other thing that hurts is that like Final Fantasy, the franchise just keeps jumping onto different bandwagons. So it used to be Nintendo exclusive for Final Fantasy 4 to 6, but then they had to jump to Sony PlayStation and become loyal to them for Final Fantasy 7, just because of how big the game was. Like it literally wouldn't be able to fit on a Nintendo cartridge from
Oh
back
wow.
then. Well, so they literally had to put their games on discs because the Final Fantasy 7 literally came out originally on 3 separate CDs because that's
See,
how.
nothing like that. That would be just a bit much.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, 3 CDs. Holy crap. I mean, I'm sure the customer felt like they were getting some kind of a deal, though.
yeah, and then Final Fantasy 8 came out on 4 discs, and so did Final Fantasy 9. Like that was
Oh my
literally
goodness.
before DVDs, so they were literally trying to fit. Yeah, like because each CD is like 700 megabytes of data, so that's why they had to bring the game out on 4 discs so that they could have it be at least a little over a gigabyte in size. And then Final Fantasy X was the first time they released. Yeah, it was one of the first DVD games that was literally on a DVD tier disc that could go up to like four
Like one of the larger
gigabytes.
ones.
Yeah, because you had CDs that could only hold 700 megabytes of data, and then DVDs came out which were like 4 gigabytes or something like that. And that's what Final Fantasy X released on one DVD disc.
It's kind of crazy to think about. Like, they got up to 10 before they were only able to go with one disc.
Yeah,
Like, hot damn.
yeah, like that.
It's crazy
Yeah,
how things have
that
gone.
they were literally some of the largest games in terms of content in that era, and yeah, one of the few games that would actually ship in on multiple CDs. Just like how in the old days you'd have like the really old days in like 1992 when you'd get a game on your Windows 3.1 computer and it would be on 9 floppy disks.
Okay.
That
9 floppy disks?
yeah, because that's how that's what storage was like back then. Yeah, that on those 9 floppy disks there was like 4 megabytes of data on each one.
Okay, well that's something else. I gotta say,
Yeah.
that really is like, holy crap, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
Nine
just how
floppy
much.
disks.
Yeah, that's how they had to fit like a 50 megabyte game.
Okay,
You'd
yeah,
have to install
I
it
could
off
see
that.
why they would send so many.
Yeah, and yeah, now we've got freaking cheap terabyte hard drives. It's like
Yeah, pretty much.
amazing how many years. Well, how much computers have improved since I was playing around with them at 6 years old.
No, yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, going back and thinking about how much progression we made, it's like, holy crap. And this is all within what, 20, 30 years? Not even that, 20 years basically, 25?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
I mean,
I
the
still remember
only
when there wasn't
the only earlier video games then. Yeah, like my parents were the ones that experienced the Atari era in the 80s, back,
okay, I see.
you know, when you had Pac-Man as like the most complex game that could be made.
Yeah, that was something else. That was something else because think about like where we've come since then in 40 years basically, and now we basically have whole worlds that just get auto-generated. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, infinite Minecraft worlds.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, have you ever seen how long a Minecraft world actually is?
Well,
I think it's
I
only like
think
3 trillion blocks or something like that.
well it can technically be limitless. It just procedurally generates the edge of the map every time you reach it into more blocks of land.
Yeah, see, that's insane.
And like the gigabyte size of your world will literally get bigger. Like if you've got Minecraft on its own server, and you have a server that can have 100 people in it, and they all go out exploring and they just head out in every direction. You can end up with Minecraft worlds that are you know multiple gigabytes big. Yeah.
Actually,
Anyway.
that's not too surprising because me and my buddies have a Minecraft world, and I still remember it would get right around that size. It would get big like that.
Yeah.
I think the largest one we had was something around like 800. Uh, yeah, maybe around, no, not 800, 8 gigabytes, something like that, and getting even bigger.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, it just feels really weird. Like if you try to go back and play some of the games from the 90s, how games couldn't be any bigger than 50 megabytes if you were lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, I think back then, like the computer I had, the hard drive was literally only 250 megabytes. That's why you'd literally have to play games off of CDs because, CDs could be 700 megabytes. You wouldn't even be able to install a CD on your computer back then if you had, unless you had like a supercomputer for the time.
I mean, what was a supercomputer at the time? Oh, Jesus.
Oh, well, well, imagine, yeah, like, in 1969, the computer that they launched into space, would have to feel like literally the computer that they launched into space is like, um, yeah, 1% of the capacity that smartphones have nowadays. I think it's a common saying or whatever.
I'm a little bit confused. All right. Hold up, just to make sure. It would come up with, it's basically a tenth of what your phone can hold, right?
Yeah, like if you go to
Yeah.
the early computers in the 80s, um, yeah, it's just they're yeah, just think of what 50 megabytes is. That's yeah. I don't know.
It's more or less an overview.
Yeah, rambling.
No, you're good, you're good. Oh man, that's insane when you think about it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Because I've been rambling a lot.
Not at the moment. I think for the moment I think I'm good.
Cool.
How about yourself? Got anything else you wanna talk about before we?
Well, yeah, I'm
Awful.
pretty much all the way through my list, so I think it's, we should end it soon. I just wanted to ask, did you listen to the end of the last episode?
I didn't listen to the ending. What was at the ending?
Well, I had that theme song that I got off Artlist, and I put, I sent you the sound clip of Strong Bad saying that he officially endorses our podcast.
Oh yes, I did hear that.
Yeah, you're probably not old enough to get Strong Bad reference, but what I want to do from now on is I'm gonna use fakeu.ai to have some famous person endorse our podcast at the end of each episode with AI with an AI voice. So last time it was Strong Bad, and maybe you might want to look up who Strong Bad actually is, so you can get the reference. But I think next time we're going to have Donald Trump himself tell us that our podcast is awesome, that he endorses it. What do you think?
Oh, perfect. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yep. So
Because once we get the approval from the big Don himself,
yeah. So I'll
it's
make
gonna
sure. Yeah.
skyrocket.
I'll make sure I have an AI voice of Donald Trump endorsing our podcast at the end of the episode when we have the credit music play. So
I like that. I like.
yeah.
I
So
love
make
that
sure
idea.
you keep
Maybe
listening after we stop recording, and you listen for that, for whatever AI voice I decide to put at the end of each episode from now on.
all right. I like that. Maybe at the end you should have him and Joe Biden argue about who's a bigger fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's funny.
Cool.
All
Yeah.
right. I
Well,
think that's
yeah.
gonna be about it then.
Yeah, that'll be it. Thanks for joining me again, and hopefully we can get all
Course,
three of
more than
us
happy to.
soon. All right
Oh, I'm
then.
sure we will. I'm sure it's only a matter of time at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, catch you later, dude.
All
And
right. Have a good one.
yeah,
Let's do the
everyone,
outro.
yeah, like and subscribe and all that stuff. Get the cash
Like and
flowing.
subscribe and all that stuff. Let's get the cash flowing. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been the Gaming Bros.
Yep. Mystery Gaming Bros. We'll see you next
This
time.
has been the Mystery Gaming Bros, and hope you guys have a good one.
Yeah.
This is Donald Trump, and I officially endorse the Mystery Gaming Bros podcast. They are great guys. Everybody loves them, but there is a Chinese conspiracy against them. So like, comment, and subscribe